Okay, so now we are going to see a few more element selectors, and that will conclude this part of trying to fetch the various elements or select various elements or target various elements in the DOM tree. So we have already seen query selector and query selector all, but actually there are a few more. So first of all, there is something called document.get element by ID. Yeah, so now you might be thinking that yes, I could already do get element by ID, right? So for example, if I have uh, let's say this thing is having ID is equal to whatever, hello, right? Then and this is, let's say, hello world 1, hello world 2 and hello world 3, right? So I know that if I want to get that, then I can get document dot query selector, and I can get what was the name? The name was hello, yeah. And then let's print this ELE, and then you'll see that yeah, you got this p hello, which is like this second one, which you can prove this by just printing its inner text. But the main point is that yeah, so what happened, if we already are able to target this, right, using query selector, then why do we need this another get element by id, document.get element by id? And just for clarification, you can do the same thing using this document dot get element by id, and you can pass in hello. Just the difference is that here you can see that here you are using hash, and here you are not, because you are already saying here that it is id, so just give the id, right? Here this is like a generic, it can be class also, it can be id also, so that's why that css selector syntax is needed. Here just hello you provide, and that will be all. And you can see that still I get hello world 2, right? So yeah, you can use both of them, and most often like this thing is only used query selector because it is a generic thing, works always, that is fine. This thing, it has a special purpose that it is like it is exactly same as the above in like with respect to when we are dealing with IDs, but it's just that it is slightly more performant than query selector. This thing, what happens is that when you are doing something like this, then essentially what you are saying is that in this whole document, just scan the whole thing and tell me where id hello is there. So basically it takes some time to scan that thing, right? But get element by id, what this is slightly faster. Why? Because when this is first time build, then common things are what? Classes, like tag names, the p, body, div, whatever, ids, like these are common things, right? So for these common things, javascript itself builds its own hash map, and that hash map is very much fast, and and then you can access that very quickly. So it's like it's somewhat faster than that. So let's say if you are doing that like 10 times or 20 times, then doesn't matter, you should use any of one of them, does not matter. In fact, you should use query selector only because it is simpler and the same syntax everywhere. But if you are using, let's say, thousands of times or millions of times, you are doing some operation very fast, right? Then those slight microseconds or milliseconds will also matter, right? And if this is somewhat faster, even a little bit faster, then that thing will compound, okay? And that's why in those cases better to use this thing. Okay, coming back to this thing, there is a similar thing called get element by class name also, right? So let's say this is some class, right? And this class is like, let's say, my class or whatever. Now you can use this thing, get element by class name, right? And then again you can provide this thing, and again you could have done here also, as we already know, dot this thing, right? So as we can see here, that here we are getting hello world 3. If I comment this and uncomment this, then in get element by class name also we are getting Okay, yeah, so basically this so what happens that this it can so you see that here we are having query selector and query selector all, right? But here there is no way, right? Here there is no way to know that like there is no like get element by class name all version, there is no that thing, right? So what happens here is that in case of id we know that the whole document will have like id should be unique, right? And that's why it returns one item, right? But in this case this will also return a list, and that is technically called a collection. And again, like node list, there is something like collection also, but again collection also you think like list only, right? So if you simply print, let's say ele dot length, then it is like array only, you can see that its length is 1. But rather don't say it ele, let's say elems, or let's say it's a list of elements, you can think like that, right? This thing is an element, but this thing is a list of elements, and here if you say ele, then that ele will be what, since its length is 1, then this ele will be let's comment this, and this ele will be these elements 0 index, right? And then you can see that the element and element inner text will be exactly same. So hello world 3, this is matching this, right? And one final thing is by class name is one final thing is like by tag name. So tag name we saw many of them, right? So let's see only p. So we saw that here if we pass p, then we get just one for the first one. If we do query selector all, then we get like all the three p's, one with like one with this id and one with this class, all the 3 p's we got. And yeah, in the same manner you can do here also. So let's see element by tag name, okay? And in this case let's pass p. So p is the tag on which we are trying to check that what are the various elements available, right? And we'll see again we are getting a collection, right? So it's like query selector all. And so you can understand that get element by id will work like a query selector, but all others will work like query selector all, okay? So yeah, in this case whatever you want to target, so let's say you want to target the I don't know first one only, let's say, then you can simply take that and then you can target that hello world 1, you have got it, right? So yeah, that will be all. These are some of the few selectors. Otherwise, there are a few more, but they are not that important, and you can Google it up and look it up. But in fact, these are also not that frequently used. I just mentioned it because these are performant, and sometimes you, if you see in some code base, then you should not think that what is this get element by id. I just know query selector. So something like this is also there, just to know that. Okay, so that will be all for this video. Thanks a lot.